Hey guys, welcome to the Cultured Idiots podcast. It's me, Cameron, got Joey Beal, Ethan, and Robbie. So originally our idea for starting this podcast came from a conversation that me and Ethan had a while back. And that's kind of our first question, is what made us want to start a podcast. So Ethan literally came to me and said, hey dude, do you want to start a podcast? And I said yes. There's some conflicting opinions on exactly how that went down, but that was just kind of basically the gist. You know, we didn't like talk about it for years and speculate doing a podcast. Oh, I wish I could do a podcast like a lot of people do, but we just got together and made one.
Yeah, so much negotiation that went down for that. I think I was asked, Robbie, you want to do a podcast? You have a nice voice. And Joey, similar thing, right? For you?
No, I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Yeah,
We let this guy in.
we let this guy in. Yeah.
Ethan, do you want to talk about our name, or should I talk about it since I kind of came up with the name? Because we bounced around a lot of names, and we're not actually going to say names because like there's some other podcasts that already had names that we thought didn't have names, but they do. So we came across Culture Idiots just because we're idiots. Like we don't have a ton of experience. We are cultured, but we don't have like a ton of experience. We're not famous people. Like, there's no reason why you should like take what we're saying like at face value. Please don't take what we're saying at face value.
That's funny you said that. I looked at it more as like, you know, I'm my own self-marketer, because probably the number one thing I've heard my entire life was, Ethan, you're kind of an idiot. And now I can say, well, are you talking about my podcast? Because if so, yeah, I'm an idiot. So thank you. I appreciate it. So, yeah.
Same with me. I don't actually claim to know anything about what we're talking about, but I've read enough to know names and titles, and I can probably fake my way through, you know, a study of postmodernism or something like that.
And I feel like that's 95% of most people in America as well. So
yeah. This is a podcast about anything and everything. So
Yep.
we'll just see where it goes.
Yep, pretty much. All right. First question. Favorite pie. So I thought we'd start off with something super simple, super easy. Just kind of, you know, break the ice. Yeah. Get things flowing.
You know, I actually have had many discussions about this specific thing, actually. Not just this. There's a much deeper debate. There's a schism between cake people and pie people. I think we all recognize who's in the right here. Pies definitely. Yes. Beyond cake. Any day, pie is better than cake.
Yes.
100%. But what the best pie is, it really depends on what you're going for. Like if you're going for, does it go well with ice cream? That's one question. But then if you want to ask, is it fruity? Is it not fruity? There's all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah. I honestly feel like anything with chocolate, obviously pumpkin's great, apple's great, lemon's great, key lime is fantastic.
Coconut cream.
It sounds like you just like every single pie.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I know that there are a lot of differing opinions on pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
That's kind of like an unpopular opinion to actually like pumpkin pie. A lot of people just think it's like disgusting. I don't know where the idea comes from.
It's a lie.
I like pumpkin pie. I don't like it with ice cream. I only like it with whipped cream on it. And a lot of whipped cream.
I can get that. Doesn't seem to go well all the time with ice cream. But I'll tell you what, pumpkin pie, it's not just a pie. It's an experience. It's an American founding principle. It is. It has to be with Thanksgiving.
Can you call yourself American if you have not ate pumpkin pie before?
Yeah.
I don't know. But my personal favorite is cheesecake.
Cherry cheesecake. Cherry cheesecake's my favorite.
Here's the question, though. Is cheesecake a pie?
Is cheesecake a pie?
Yes.
It's really more of a custard.
Yes.
Are you sure?
It is.
And there's the name cake in it.
And
It has the name cake in it.
If it's in a dish and it has like crust,
But
then
the
yes,
thing
it's
is-
pie.
It's crust. It's actually not a crust. It's,
can have,
it's
like,
a
meat-
crumble. It's
You can
not.
have like meat pies too.
Yeah, you can. I agree. But the thing that makes it pie is the crust. There's a specific way of making pie crust. And you can't make cheesecake using like a normal pie crust. Unless I'm wrong. I'm an idiot.
I
so
feel
don't
like
take me at my
you're wrong on that, but Yeah, that would probably require some deep research,
Mm.
some deep dish research, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I think we can all agree. Like, if you want to go for pies, the classics are like apple, pumpkin, and like key lime. If you want to go for like the basic, my favorite, coconut cream pie.
That's
Mm.
good stuff.
You know,
Only because they make it with cocaine.
That's what makes it.
that's what makes it good. Yeah, I'm not a huge apple pie fan.
Really?
No, not a huge apple pie fan. I like Marionberry pie. My grandma makes a good Marionberry pie.
Shout out.
Shout out to grandma. Shout out to my grandma. Thanks, grandma. Yeah, I'm a simple man.
Simple tastes.
Just like grandma's pies.
Blackberry pie. Is that different than Marionberry pie?
Blackberry
Yes. Well, it's a different berry.
Well, yes, but how much? Like, how much different?
I don't know. I'm not like a super big fan of berry pies.
They do get rather soggy.
Yeah, they get kind of mushy. I guess it's like it depends on like how they're prepared, like how good the actual pie is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those.
It does seem, in a way, now anybody who makes pies will probably hunt me down and kill me, but it seems a little bit lazy. Like berry pies is just kind of like, all right, we make a container of crust and then we put a bunch of berries in with some sugar. Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know. It's a hard question to tackle. Anything we say will make enemies.
That's true.
That's true. You know, I think that our fans should have an input in this. What's your guys' favorite?
We'll put a poll here. Favorite pie. If you don't say pumpkin, then you're not American.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can actually find a way to revoke their legal status as a citizen. Say pumpkin. Especially 'tis the season.
Right? Yes.
Next question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Next question is, what is the best thing you've ever done?
How do you define best? How do you define that? That's a very broad term.
Are we talking about like the moral quality or just the technical quality?
I think it's an achievement type thing. But you could honestly like take it both ways. Like, I saved a dog once from dying out in the snow. Like, that would probably be a fine answer, but I feel like achievement is probably what I would go with.
So the bet, like, or the like most like fulfilling thing. Could be fulfilling.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a really, really, really hard question.
Yeah.
It's gonna make me readdress
Your
everything
whole
I've done.
life.
Best thing. What's the best?
whole
What's the best? I feel like saying like, what's the best decision you have ever done works too, right? Like, what's the best decision you've ever made? What's the best thing? Do they go together?
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
What's the best decision you've ever made, Ethan?
By sitting by you freshman year in science.
That was the best decision I ever made.
I would say, like, you know, big picture, the number one most or biggest decision, most important decision is accepting Jesus.
Yeah.
As far as like just kind of life, again, I have to go back to sitting by Joey freshman year of high school in science class.
You know, I've done a lot of theater, done a lot of acting, and I recently had the honor of playing Jesus. I feel like that takes the cake, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I can't go very far without doing that.
Cam?
Yeah, it's a tough question to like think of your whole life. I feel like it would probably be something like fairly recent. My memory is like not super great.
Yeah.
So trying to think like back to obviously like before high school is like super tough. I would say probably going to crossover church, shout out. Yeah, the other church that I was at, just like it, I'm not gonna like call it out, but it just wasn't right for me, and like I wasn't growing, and it was just like more of a habit than anything. So, you know, going somewhere where it's like, you know, I want to grow and other people around me want to grow, is like huge. So I would say that. But
Nice. Good answer.
That's dope.
What about you? Oh, you already said yours. Wait, did you say yours, Joe?
You said the worst thing here.
Oh, the worst thing. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best, but the first thing I think of is going to college like out of Washington. I think that was one of the best things. Sorry, Ethan. I know
the
I
worst
left.
place in the entire world, the Midwest.
Okay. Sorry, Midwest listeners. We have so many of you out there. Yeah, I'd say there. Just being able to get away from my family and just kind of figure out, who I am and all that stuff. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Who I am in Christ.
Yeah.
That's deep.
In
That's pretty deep.
one of the most boring places in all of America. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but it makes you creative. Like one thing, this isn't relatable for you guys, but it was such a small school that you have to just be creative and like there's nothing to do. There's a Taco Bell and a McDonald's, and that was it. So I grew. Next question.
From Taco Bell to McDonald's, you did grow probably out a little bit, right, Joe?
Pretty sure you just
Yeah, I did that too. Freshman 15. What?
pretty sure you just described my childhood. There
Really?
isn't much to do.
Chihuahua, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't drink to that.
The Chihuahua.
I feel like Chihuahua is just overshadowed by 49 degrees north.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
Literally overshadowed by 49 degrees north. No, it's a beautiful little town. Shout out to all the Chihuahua people, including my family who are watching this because I told them to. Oh, yeah. What's the next question?
A deeper one. Capital punishment, yay or nay,
Cameron, I feel like
by
we should
Judah
start with
Katona.
I don't know why. This is my guy.
Why you think I'm some really politically charged person? Has a lot of strong opinions, because that would be false. I honestly don't know what the effect, Judah asked what the effect it would be on society as kind of a follow-up to this question. But thinking about it kind of in that reverse way, I honestly don't know how it would affect society. Maybe just because I'm an idiot, or maybe just because I haven't looked into it very much. But do you guys have any strong opinions on this from the point of view of how it would actually impact society versus yeah, I don't think it's a morally good thing to do, or I think it is a morally good thing to do, because I know that there's both sides to that argument.
Yeah, I think we can go back to nature's law if we want to talk about the way a system of government, the way of justice should be set up. But to me, it's only recently that people have even asked the way it's going to affect society, the way justice is going to affect society for the longest time. And I think what we ought to be asking is, what do they deserve? What is the desert? Because if you ask what are the repercussions of a specific type of punishment, or how is this going to dissuade people from doing it, then you really aren't paying attention to whether they deserved it or not. And the more you ask that, the less it actually matters whether the person deserved it or not. And so at a certain point, you don't even need to get guilty people. You just need to get people who can be a dissuasion to the populace. You can just need to kill one person or throw one person in jail or do whatever per year. Just make sure it's publicized and everybody knows, oh, I won't do that now. I think desert-wise, though, I actually think there are some crimes which do deserve death. I think there are some things which are just so heinous, that are so diabolical. That you've given up your right to life. You haven't necessarily, you are no longer a human. You've proven to everybody that you no longer are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, let's say, hypothetically, if capital punishment was not a deterrent, so if it didn't stop people from killing other people, are you still for it or against it? What do you think of that?
So if it wasn't publicized at all, nobody knew what happened to the people. They just kind of disappeared and nobody thought about it anymore. Yes, I still think, let's say murderer, mass murderer. I would say I think it would be unjust to kill anybody or to execute anybody for a second-degree murder or a murder of passion or an accident, just manslaughter. I think that would be unjust.
Yeah.
But for first-degree premeditated murder and for mass murder and for successive murders especially, I I think it would not only be just, but there's historically, I don't know, there's something very poetic about it, the whole life for life. And you've taken something and now you have to pay it back, really.
Gotcha.
In a way, I think it's giving dignity. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. Just, it seems to be robbing the dignity and the moral responsibility from the accused to not take it that seriously, to treat them like a child, which just needs to be treated or to be cured.
Do you have any strong opinion on it?
Not really, no. Yeah.
So we got to talk about
It's
it.
kind of like, yeah, that's why I asked Cam. It's like ignorance is bliss, right? I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. I don't know. So
Yeah, I honestly don't know what like a valid case against it would be other than just like a moral thing. Because like it's like the people that it's actually going to apply to is like pretty small.
Yeah,
So-
because it's not something which we have to face every day. Most often, the reasoning against it is because when I remember being in an English class and they talking about somebody who was falsely accused and they brought up some stats. They say that 1 out of 9, maybe it might have been 1 out of 10 people who are in for a serious crime like that are later acquitted or falsely accused. Basically, they are falsely imprisoned. So that is a scary stat. No one would want someone to die for a crime they didn't commit. So I understand the reason that goes behind that. I do think that I think that we have to have maybe a little bit more faith in our justice system, or maybe we just need to improve our justice system to make sure there is no question about their guilt. But yeah, I think if someone is unquestionably guilty of a heinous crime, if you ask most individuals, most people would say, like Adolf Hitler, most people would volunteer to go back in time and kill Adolf Hitler as a baby. I mean, some people think of that's totally okay.
Would you?
Would I? Well, maybe that question's for a different podcast.
A much darker one.
Much darker podcast.
That's a really interesting topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd honestly be interested to like see other people's opinions that are maybe on like the other side. I've never like researched this topic. Like it's not something that I think about. Yeah.
There's something very unjust about seeing a man who is obviously guilty, or a man who is definitively guilty of a heinous crime, live out the rest of his life comfortably, if comfortably is the right word, in a prison or on death row, just pleading and making bargains just to keep his life going and going and going. And to see justice delayed is, I think, a tragedy. It's not... Most people look at that and get angry. Most people.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Ready to move on to something a little more positive.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, now we got some validation, some fun stuff.
All right.
So to your right, your favorite thing about this.
I'll start.
Ethan, we'll
I'll
start with you.
Okay, gotta go, Joey. Bam. Okay. Tell the person to the right of you your favorite thing about them. Oh man, this is a tough one. Joey, I love your quirkiness, and you're one of the weirdest people I've ever met in my entire life. And we spent a lot of time together. And you have nice eyes.
Thank you.
Okay, no, just kidding. I appreciate that. Cameron, I love your beard.
Yeah, we couldn't talk for 30 minutes that time.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, Cam.
No, you're beautiful.
It's true. We're all beautiful.
And I would say just your creativity with this podcast is very admirable. So
Thanks,
I would say
Joey.
those two things.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Robbie. Man, I love your like talkativeness. Every time we get into a conversation, it's like a 30-minute or more conversation. And yeah, I really appreciate that you could just like literally talk about anything. Not just like the stuff that you want to talk about, but like, whatever people are talking about. So I appreciate that. And that's why you're on this podcast.
Yes. I was actually talking with my sister, and she was saying that she has to think about every sentence before she says it. I have no idea what that's like. I just kind of come up with a sentence on the fly, but all right.
That's a good thing to do. I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, me too, apparently. Anyway, bro.
What's up, man?
I really appreciate the fact that you don't need this question. You're constantly affirming other people and you're really encouraging in your words. I think it's really cool.
It's true.
Keep it up.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Nice.
All right.
I don't do very good at accepting compliments. I don't know. I don't know how to react.
Yeah.
This is not filming, but yeah.
Yeah, kind of the same.
Well, no, you know what I mean.
I mean, I have some tips for you.
Thanks, man.
Tips from YouTube.
Tips from you.
Yeah.
So Keanu Reeves. So everyone loves Keanu Reeves, and the reason why everyone loves him is because whenever someone gives him a compliment, he gives them a compliment back. He always like repoints it back to another person. He never just takes it and then does nothing else with it.
That's good.
And that's basically the opposite of like a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
I could throw out a few names. Brie Larson.
What? I'm sorry. I had to do the ritualistic cough in agreement.
Yeah.
Anyway, so some tips, but
In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for? Cultured Idiots podcast.
Oh my god.
Cultured Idiots podcast.
I mean,
Hold on.
I thought we were supposed to not be self-centered.
No, I'm kidding.
I think people are going to be extremely nostalgic for TikTok. Now, hear me out, guys. Hear me out.
Dude, I can see that.
Really?
Yeah, like Vine. Yeah,
Oh, I'm already nostalgic for Vine.
I am. Yes.
I am. I don't.
We used to have a Vine.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yes, it's
No,
somewhere
no,
deep in the
no,
archives.
Yeah, we don't need to bring that up. We'll please ask us a question about that. We'll pull it up.
They're hilarious. I'm not sure. They're funny.
Yeah.
We just didn't have you to.
I don't know, actually. I think 40 years from now, people are going to be nostalgic for social unrest. I think people are going to be missing it, People are going to be looking back at what we had, be like, oh, it was so peaceful back then. Whoa.
Are you sure about that?
I could see
so.
I could see complete anarchy in the next 40 years, and I could see people being nostalgic for the US of A, baby. 2019.
that was such a year, wasn't it, guys? Dude, we had so many good movies that came out that year. It was just like they were all bangers,
Yeah.
and it was just like a good year, a good set of years.
And then 2020 made up for it. 2020 is like, oh, you like movies. Guess what?
Literally.
You're not getting any. Yeah.
What about you, Joey?
I don't know. I'm really not sure. I think people could be nostalgic for like when we were ignorant before we knew the effects of social media on us. I feel like that's really specific. But I just watched The Social Dilemma. That's a whole other topic. But like, I feel like only until like this year, I feel like, or recently, we didn't understand like that social media is like kind of terrible in a lot of ways. I mean, it has benefits. There's good things to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're just now understanding like, oh, this isn't perfect. There's some flaws to this. So I feel like we're gonna be nostalgic for when we were ignorant to that fact.
That's really good. And I agree. I think the golden age of YouTube was a long time ago. And the golden age of Facebook was like a little bit after that. Yeah. Then the golden age of Instagram might still be here. I think it's gone. I think the golden age of Instagram is gone. Yeah. So Instagram itself is on the way out. I mean, is it too ironical that we actually have a Facebook page and an Instagram page?
It's only because of necessity.
Right.
And we have a Twitter page now, too.
We do. Follow us on Twitter.
Really? Where else?
Ethan will be managing the Twitter. So if you see some weird tweets, it's all Ethan.
All right.
That's true.
No, you make a really good point, though. I think that we are going to miss the innocence of social media. But I think we always knew that social media can be damaging.
Yeah. What do you think the prime years of YouTube were? Do you have any idea?
Before all the dark.
Yeah, like when it first started, before there were ads, before it was like HD quality, it was just like just like 240p, just super weird stuff.
Yeah.
Donkey, I think at one point made a video. I don't know if you guys watched Video Game Donkey, but he made a video where he was like watching through his old videos, and he had some videos like before YouTube. It was on like a different platform, and it was just like a good snapshot of like what the culture was back then. Mm-hmm. Like there was no like influencers or people trying to make money. There was like none of that. It was just like people making stuff just because they wanted to like share stuff. It was like super pure. And we're definitely not in that anymore. And I think people are starting to look like, is there an alternative to YouTube? Because as a platform, especially for creators, it is not like they try, I feel like they try to make it better, but because it's such a big company and there's so much management and so much oversight, there, decisions get made that affect the creators in a negative way. So I wouldn't be surprised if another platform.
And you see so many examples too of YouTube censoring people because they don't like what they're saying, and so they're starting a pretty nasty trend on a very slippery slope of just, well, that doesn't fit with what we want you to say or what people generally like, so we're just going to cut that out, and that really curbs creativity. I mean, that's what kills creativity. It's censorship that kills comedy.
That's true. What does Michael Scott say when he first finds out about YouTube?
When I first discovered YouTube, I didn't work for 2 weeks or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not as impressed at the quote as I'm impressed that you know the quote. That is...
I probably butchered it.
He butchered it.
Joey's seen The Office 15, 16?
Yeah.
15,
Like, no,
16.
like 13. I don't know.
No, yeah, 13. 13 times through.
At a certain point, you have to downplay it. Like, you want to play it up.
Yeah,
Like, maybe round up until a certain number.
Like I was at one point.
You should be. You should embrace the weirdness, Joey. I've seen The Office 22 times through and counting.
Nice. Here's a man that is not ashamed.
Okay.
We've wasted a good amount of time.
Copious amounts of
Did I even give an answer? I don't think I did. I would say people are going to be nostalgic. I would just say this time period. Like, I feel like I look at it from the point of view of people that are like my age. So like we're in the time period of like people are starting to like get married and like kind of move away from like the friend groups. Yeah. And especially with like COVID, like kind of separating people a little bit more. I would say people are just nostalgic for the times like, hanging out with friends, like in person and just like having some good times. I don't know, maybe that's just like more of like a personal thing to me, but I feel like I'm not the only one.
I think that's a really good point because we don't know. I mean, we can hope, but we don't know whether people are going to move back to normal human interaction after this whole COVID thing blows over. If it ever will, we don't know. But if this blows over, whether people will ever go back to a more fearless social interaction.
And we used to have groups. It was like we'd go, like 12 of us would go like see a movie like in the afternoon or whatever. And I don't know if we'll ever go back to that.
It's Orwellian. This is straight out of 1984 or something. But it's...
And not just that, but like, I had like tons of friends like I'd get married and they kind of like do their own things now. And so, it's weird. So last year, at like the very end of the year, we had a get together where a New Year's get together. And so we were talking about like things that we were looking forward to. And this is the end of 2019. We had no idea what was going to happen. We had some like good answers. There were like some answers like, I'm looking forward to a job that I'm starting or, things like that. Mine was, I was looking forward to the Tame Impala album, the 2020 Tame Impala album, which is a good album. It's like one of my favorite albums of all time. But it has that vibe of like things are different now just in life. And like, people are kind of moving away and, things are changing and you can't necessarily like stop it. Like life is going to change at some point, but just kind of like the nostalgic aspect of like looking back and being like, those were good times, but it'll never go back to those times.
That reminds me, Joey, the Office quote.
Oh no.
How do you remember I wish I knew that.
I wish you knew you were in the good times before you were out of them. Like the good old days before you were out of them. Yeah. That's a good point.
Just gotta live day by day, appreciate life for what it is. And hey, you made 3 new friends.
Look out for, new opportunities and new things.
Podcasts.
Look
out for them.
I feel like it's important to reflect on the nostalgic aspect, but I don't think that we should like wish for it to go back to that. And this kind of goes into like the argument of like, you know, all the nostalgic things that we have. Like we're so obsessed with like, you know, things from decades past. Like there was the Stranger Things like craze that was going on for a while. Just like tons of things like that. Like I don't think we should necessarily like wish for those things. Like we should be looking for like what's ahead, but it's good to recognize it.
There's this really great poem, actually, Sanskrit. It's just ancient, written on the walls, I guess, of some sandy caves. And it says, I'm going to summarize, but it says, "Look to this day, for in it is life, the very life of life." Yeah. And so if you with today well lived, every tomorrow becomes a vision of happiness, and every yesterday is a vision of hope. You know, so you look to today so that you can have nostalgia. But if you continue to focus on the past, then you'll never get past it. I don't know. You'll never enjoy the present.
Yeah, that's funny. I memorized 2 poems last night, actually.
Really?
I actually did, yes.
Good.
And I'm tempted to. Cameron, I sent them both to Cameron, actually.
They by the time that this gets out, they will be up.
But the first one, I don't know if I want the one out though.
No, the first. I didn't do the first.
I don't know this.
You want to say the first one?
Should I say the first?
Yes, get the cringe out, Ethan. Get it out.
I can do this on live podcast. Okay. A snowman. There was a chubby little snowman with a carrot nose. Along came a bunny, and what do you suppose? That hungry little bunny, looking for some lunch, grabbed that snowman's nose, nibble, nibble, crunch. The podcast about anything and everything. That was the poem.
And he changed it because he thought it was too cringy.
It's too cringy, but I got it out there.
It's good. I didn't think it was too bad.
It was bad. I did it. There's another. The other one. We can cut this part out. Nibble,
No, we
nibble,
won't cut
crunch.
this part out. This is good.
This is really embarrassing.
This is good. I like this.
We'll put a poll here that just says which poem was better, the cringy one or the normal one.
Just for the meme, people say the cringy one. You know that, right? This is the internet we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Knowing our friends, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our fans.
Our fan.
Our
No, they're our
fans.
friends.
And friends.
We have believers.
Yes.
Mm.
We have idiots.
We also have some. We have some
Sorry.
haters now too. We have a hater.
We have a hater?
He will remain anonymous.
Oh, really?
It's more just directed towards me.
Wait, you can't be in the podcast and a hater. There's an imposter.
Wait, somebody hates you?
No, we've just been getting some hate mail. You know, you don't make it until you have hate mail.
Yeah, that's normal.
It's normal.
Made it.
We
Yeah.
made it. We made
It
it.
means we made it. Guys, I think we can retire right
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next question, man?
Yeah, let's get.
Best thing is about you that you wouldn't put on a dating profile.
Joey, I feel like this is yours to start.
Nah, this is not mine.
So, AKA weird things that are kind of impressive, but you wouldn't like say it to someone like right off the bat. Like,
Golly.
I have 2 in my
What-
head right
what-
now. No. Just give me some time. Give me some time.
My profile picture. It's the best thing about me, but I wouldn't put it in my profile.
Okay, we'll show it.
Put it on your profile.
We'll show it for context.
Okay.
Man, that's a good question.
Well, I'll say my 2 that I just came to the
Yeah.
to the dome real quick.
Yeah.
My thumb is double jointed.
Nice.
So what does that have to do with the?
I don't know.
I'm impressed with it myself. I probably wouldn't put it on the profile. I cut my own hair.
Really?
Wouldn't put that on the profile.
that's like the fade too. That's impressive.
That is
Nice. I do the same. I just don't attempt the fade.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Are you kidding? You have a glorious fade. Oh my gosh. I see. Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
I'll fade you. It's pretty easy. If you have the lever, you can. Yeah, that's my 2. I can't think of anything else I would say.
Yeah. How about you, Ethan?
You know, that's a. Oh gosh, I thought of one.
Okay.
I don't have any body hair. You know,
Also doesn't stink.
This one takes the.
and I don't stink when I sweat. It's legitimately a Korean thing.
It is. I looked it up.
Cameron looked it up. My friend in Korea told me about it.
Also, there's also some like
never
Europeans that have that as well, but it's like a very small percentage of Europeans.
I've never bought deodorant once in my entire life.
Dude,
I have cologne though, but never deodorant.
I have an
And
interesting statistic.
I don't have any body hair.
So people that don't stink when they sweat, most of them, it was like a really high percentage. It was like 70% still use deodorant because it's a cultural thing,
I don't.
which is like crazy to me.
I don't follow cultural trends or anything like
That's
that. I'm just
You forge your own.
I'm just Ethan. I forge my own path. I take the road less traveled.
Yeah.
And then for the third one, so I said no body hair. I don't stink when I sweat, or in general.
I don't know. I feel like you should put that on your dating profile. Not stinking when you sweat.
I don't stick on
And the third one is the best things about you that you wouldn't put on your. Gosh, I can only think of two.
You have a great stash.
I have a great mustache. No, I don't know. Cam?
I don't use emojis like hardly ever.
I feel attacked.
Um,
A man who
I
uses
feel
the English language.
huzzah.
Sorry, do you use
what?
GIFs?
GIFs?
Not really.
You don't?
No.
Oh my gosh.
It takes too much time because you have to like look for one.
They're so fun.
But you can literally Siri it. Hey Siri, use this GIF.
I also like never post stories or like a lot of social media stuff. But I think a lot of people would like take offense to that because a lot of people, it's like their whole life. It's just like, social media stuff. I mean, if you're really good at it, I mean, like if your Instagram grid is like beautiful, then like props to you. But
The aesthetic.
yeah,
I'd rather have a clean room. Is that weird? I would just rather have a perfect room
Okay,
than a perfect.
Who actually has a clean room though?
Me. I actually am pretty clean.
Wow.
Pretty clean. I say that.
Okay. Okay. Next question. Next bullet point. I categorize my music into colors. I have like a really mild.
impressive.
I have a mild form of like synesthesia where, like, when I listen to music, I like hear colors. I know that sounds like super stupid.
And we think Cameron did acid back in the day.
You guys ever watch the movie August Rush? With like
August
the
Rush
little
is
kid who like hears music and everything. We found August Rush. He just looks at a really nice painting by Picasso and it's like, yes. I love the harmonies.
I hear blue.
I hear blue.
Um,
Can you smell colors?
What?
Are you yet to that level?
No, but at least I can smell things. So
That's true.
no, I mean, there's some people that I know that they literally just like can't smell things. Like,
I'm one of those
They've
people.
never been able. Is that okay?
I just have a
I
lot
was
of
trying to remember if
damage.
it was
From,
you or your brother, but yeah.
I have a lot of damage from allergies, so I actually like can't smell very well. Those moments where the air is just the perfect humidity and my nose is completely clear and I can smell something, it's a moment of ecstasy. But besides that, I generally cannot smell too well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you put that on your dating profile? Or no?
I feel like no. It's not the best thing about me. Definitely the best thing about me is I don't know, my rugged good looks. No. I
That
joke.
smile.
I have
darn smile.
I have like
your humbleness.
okay, the best thing about me, but I actually wouldn't want to put it on my profile because it can be very confusing to me, is whenever I express my face at all, if ever I use my face, if I smile, scowl, it seems like everything I do, my dimples show. And so everything is interpreted as a smile. Even if I'm trying my best to look really angry, it just looks like a chubby little kid smiling. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm kind of not bloodthirsty, but I have a lot of experience with killing animals, and I wouldn't put that on my profile, but it is actually a useful skill to have. So
in what way? Like bow and arrow, gun, trapping? What we trapping? You're like out there with your fur cap and like.
yes, I
just
only
thought-
kill animals using string and a paper clip. That's all I need to do my no. I grew up on farm. I've killed lots of different kinds of animals, so I'm rather desensitized to animal death, I'm afraid. But yeah. So the method doesn't actually deter me very much. Wouldn't put that on my profile though. People will be like, serial killer. Yeah. I don't know if I can come up with a third thing. I think it's just my smile.
I've got
Not-
a third thing.
I'm a perfectionist, which is a blessing and a curse. I feel like it manifests itself in work, but it's not just limited to like work things. Like there's a lot of other areas, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like, work it into a positive thing. And I think it is mostly a positive thing, but like there are times when it tends to be a little more negative. Like especially if it involves like, like coworkers or, in some sort of professional capacity, like relating with other people, I could feel like it would tend to get really negative. I don't know. I also tend to be like the Thanos meme where he's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
I tend to do that a lot. Yeah.
I have a third thing too. I really like classical music and poetry. I really like him. I say poetry, not anything you would hear in a coffee shop today. So nothing.
Not like modern.
No,
Not like
no.
slam poetry. Like
Yes. At this point, I'm tempted to say every poem written after 1980 is either just kind of an homage to older poetry or it's really, really bad. But, I haven't read all of it, so I'm just going to stick with the older stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I read some poetry pretty recently, like the last few months. It was more modern and like it was fairly good, but I would agree with you on that. Like just the English language is not the same now. I think we kind of talked about this the other day, but like it's not the same now that it was. Like we only use a fraction of the actual English language to express ourselves, which, it might be good in like social things where you're talking with other people, so they can understand you. Yeah. But in terms of like writing and poetry, it's not super helpful because then you're just limiting yourself to.
Yeah. And most often people use it as a form of self-expression, just expressing themselves, when historically poetry has always been a mode of storytelling or to just summarize things. Oh, I don't know. There's so many definitions of poetry, but one of them is finding the strange in the familiar. So it's thinking about something other than yourself. And since that general trend of self-expression or self-obsession, I think we could say safely, it's just decreased the quality of the poetry. You just find a lot more people concentered all in self, as Sir Walter Scott would say.
So you'd say people have become so narcissistic that it's hurting poetry.
Yes. I didn't mean to say that, but I think that's a true statement.
That's interesting.
Do you think that affects other facets of creativity and other things?
It does. Well, think about this. So according to, I couldn't say most, as far as to my knowledge, I'm an idiot. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. I feel like we should have one of those little narrations after every single
Disclaimer.
a disclaimer at the end of every statement by me. Just be like,
all of our opinions.
yeah, like following this statement might include symptoms of,
Cannot be legally held accountable.
Yeah, we cannot be. Any impressions are not actually a depiction of any real person, or something like that. But I think that poetry is an innately human thing. You go back in history, the first stories were poems. And poetry is something that's kind of been dying. You find a lot more people who dislike poetry. Now, poetry is kind of also a vague definition. People don't really understand what poetry is. When people think of poetry, most often they think of rhyme. That's just what they think of. They think if it rhymes, it's poetic. But that's not actually the case. There's a lot more to it. But it's slowly dying. And I think if we allow it to die, then I think that's something human, which we'll be losing. That's part of the human experience. There's a reason why most, actually I don't have much experience in the matter, but most like romances involve writing poetry to each other. Like that is a human expression.
I think people are getting stupider.
Yeah.
People don't like to write. They don't know how to write.
It's because of this dang technology.
They call their podcast cultured idiots. Yeah, I agree.
So,
but I mean, we all grew up in the time when like, going to school, like we had a school library and we would actually like read things like, it was more of a acceptable thing to like read books. Whereas like right now, especially with like the younger generation, it's not very acceptable. It's more acceptable to the other more like digital things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think it's turning though. Actually, I can't speak for all people. I'm an idiot, but I feel like in general, people are actually starting to discover like, well, books are actually pretty cool. Like at least for me, I hated reading, but now the past like 2 years, I'm like, whoa, there's so much knowledge to be had. That's probably just me growing up, but yeah.
Knowledge
Yeah.
systematically.
I think the older you get, the more
Yeah.
you kind of figure it out.
See, there's so much information online and other digital media. There's so much that you could possibly learn. But the thing about books is that it's systematically expressed and backed up. Like most often, books are edited. People actually go through the books and proofread them. And I don't know about many Instagram pages which are proofread.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for when you read a book. I think it like goes deeper into like the recesses of your brain. Like you're actually like retaining it a little better as opposed to an Instagram feed. You're just seeing it,
Yeah, it's active versus a passive activity. You're reading, but with Instagram, you're just absorbing. Yeah. I don't know if I can agree with your statement, though, about the public libraries, because I was homeschooled. So, I mean, public library, private library.
Your public library was your bookcase.
Yes. I always love that when any kind of security question comes up. Like, what was your favorite teacher in school? Let me think about that. Mom or mom? Yeah.
nice. All right, so we got a request for wishing Thomas happy birthday. Do you guys want to sing it? So it's the 27th. This is his birthday.
Not for my sake, but for his sake. I don't want to sing it.
Okay, we're not legally obligated to sing it, so just telling you, happy birthday, Thomas.
Birthday.
I hope you have a great day.
You're 1 year closer to death.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Describe your perfect day. Oh yes. Oh yes. Perfect day. So is this like the perfect day in like the life that we live now, or is this if we had like all the freedom and autonomy in the world?
And the money
I think-
in the world. Yeah.
I think it could be whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to go with what I can achieve now.
Okay, now. So what we're doing now.
Something more real.
Okay, so I'm working, slaving away for the man. Just a weekend. It's Saturday. I have no obligations. I wake up at 6 a.m. and I wake up at 6 a.m. I pray and read the Bible, and then I go to the Bible study that me and Cameron go to at 7:30, and then I go golfing with Joey afterwards, and we play golf. And then it's like 1 o'clock, and I lay out in a hammock in my backyard and read a book for like 30 minutes, not too long because of my ADHD. And then I hang out with a friend or something, get coffee, and then I go to my parents and have dinner. Go to bed at a decent hour. I'm a very simple man. I don't need much. Yeah.
I think actually, if I wanted to, I would have to say this 4 times, because for me, the perfect day depends on the season. I am one of those people who, as much as I think it's stupid to focus on nostalgia in the past, I really do like nostalgia. I'm a huge fan of doing those things which are just aesthetically pleasing in the abstract. Like curling up next to the fire with a cup of hot chocolate is something which is pleasurable to me, probably more in my head than I actually doing it. But I think my perfect day would involve waking up at a reasonable hour, but still early enough where I feel like I've been productive throughout the day. Having a cup of coffee and being able to take time to read the Bible and to actually have time enough where I don't have to worry about where I'm going next. To do that, most of the day, I would say, would be spent reading or learning an interest which I'm interested in. For example, I've taken up fencing to a little bit. I would love to do that. Maybe some martial arts in the afternoon. I really do enjoy going on long walks. So I'm long walks on the beach. I know it's cringy, but for me, actually, I prefer mountains anyway. So going on a really long walk, maybe 2 hours, just really long, as long as I can make it without making anybody else look for me is exactly how long I want to go. So really long walk and then have a nice meal with family. That seems like a perfect day for me.
I feel like mine would be very based on like my surroundings. So like a perfect day at home is like way different from like, I feel like if I was just to go like everywhere, like any setting, it would probably be like going on a camping trip or like a backpacking trip and just like spending a day or whatever, just like in the mountains. I feel like that would be like perfect, having like coffee and having food and like talking with people and stuff.
A day
But
without this.
Yes, exactly. A day where like even if my coworkers or family like wanted to reach me, they wouldn't be able to. But if I had to say like a perfect day at home, which would be like much different, it would probably just be like a day without work, probably like midweek. There's just something about taking a day off during the middle of the week. It feels different than like taking off on the weekend, because the weekend it's like, well, you already kind of have it off anyway. But yeah, taking off during the middle of the week, it just seems like you have way more time and it just seems nicer. So yeah, taking off a day in the middle of the week and just like, getting some like fun work done. So like stuff they don't have to do, but like things that I want to do. Like going on a walk, playing some video games, just chilling, listening to music.
I think most of us haven't said this, but I think it's kind of implied too that, it kind of depends on who we're with, because I would say every person is relational. Even the most introverted introvert is relational. They care about relationships. So part of that enjoyment, part of a perfect day would be a perfect, relation to the people around you. And so we can't describe, it depends on whether, like so-and-so is spending that day with me or so, but just kind of like by ourselves. I'm guessing that's what we were doing.
Well, for mine, so the first one that I was talking about, I feel like would probably be more fun with people, the camping one. But I feel like my second one, just like chilling at home, definitely by myself, for sure. Yeah. I really value that time where I can just like do my thing and
You, Joey?
I don't know. It's not going to be that creative. I think just waking up early, having a cup of Joe.
Cup of Joe, you're gonna
a cup of myself. I think I think it would be a fancy coffee. That'd be cool. Like yes.
What's the stuff that we got called?
What?
The coffees.
I don't remember. I was
coffee.
Thai.
Oh no,
coffee?
sorry. I was okay. We had cold brew coffee at a Thai place. Anyway,
Interesting.
it was all right. It was pretty good. Anyway, I think I'd have like a latte. I love lattes with extra foam, extra hot foam, vanilla sweetener, and then I'd also just spend an extended period reading the Bible. I think, like you guys said, would be sweet. I love physical activity. I mean, just like playing basketball or something with a group of people would be super fun for like a long time. Maybe golf would be fun too with Ethan and man, I don't know. Spend time with family. Hot tub would be fun. It depends on the time of the year. Oh, if it was the summer, like going for like a cliff dive or something would be kind of fun. A small cliff. I'm not, that crazy.
Yeah.
But
There you go. It's not.
yeah, I would say that's it.
One.
Are you guys on showtime?
My phones are going.
Nope, I'm not recording
Me either.
it. How dare you? Voice memo.
Should we start now?
Yes.
Record. All right.
It's recording.
God, let's have this go smoothly. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen.
amen, men.
Amen.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I think, Joey, you hit on something very good. We can't succeed unless we're selfless.
That's true.
It does.
Dude, you have a tattoo.
That's actually one of our questions. Stop getting ahead.
I'm sorry, bro.
Let's not do that.
Yes.
That could be a blooper. Where are those abs, Ethan? Where are they at?
Belt on, man. The belt's.
How do you want me to sit, Cameron?
What? No, you're fine. You're totally good. Yeah.
Like this?
Joey, you should roll your sleeves up
They are rolled up.
more.
No.
All right, guys, let's do this.